she's got a message for black people. Let's see what she got to say, and I'll give my thoughts as she goes. Let's get into it.
If you're a black American, I need you to stay right here. If you're not, I'll give you a few seconds so you can go on and scroll on by. Great. Okay. We need to have a talk. You know, it comes to a point where supporting and defending your community just it becomes so exhausting that you feel this frustration and you start to understand why people have the black fatigue that they talk about.
She's absolutely right, especially when which I assume she's talking about people who want you to defend them just because they're the same skin shade as you, the same skin tone as you, even though they're wrong. Forget that. Always follow the truth and don't be afraid to do it either.
The Houston Rodeo, a family event. You have people there fighting, stealing, acting like menace to society, lawlessness, at an event that's supposed to be a fun, family-oriented event. You have Ruth Chris now saying, hey, we don't want to do this, but you guys are forcing our hand. We're going to have to enforce a dress code policy because how you guys are coming in here with your pants sagging, looking sloppy, all of these things, we just cannot allow.
Isn't it interesting that she mentioned Menace to Society, famous movie from the 90s, which popularized and promoted black culture, as we like to say, promoted this gangster sort of lifestyle. She's talking about they're implementing dress codes because people are coming with their pants sagging down, which is crazy. Now, we need to be better. And I'm not just talking to black people, right? Because I don't get caught up in these whole sort of constructs, right? We just need to be better. I always break it down to the wise versus the foolish, because that's categories that God uses, right? And that's a better categorization, because all sorts of people and all sorts of skin tones can be foolish, and all sorts of people and all sorts of skin tones can be wise. So really it just comes down to, what do you want? Do you want to be someone who's sagging their trousers and looking like a thug and all of this kind of stuff, and people are looking at you a certain way and they think certain things about you? Or do you want to be more presentable and get the better results in life? I know which one I want, and I hope you want obviously the same if you're watching my sorts of videos. And really and truly, before we go back to what she's saying, this is clearly what I think she's getting at. Having a higher level of value for yourself, in simple terms.
So then you sit back and you wonder why other races will say, we have black fatigue. Guess what? I'm black and I have black fatigue. I am tired of the wrong type of people in our community, because let me preface this is not all black people. This is not.
See, but it's only the black people that will be triggered, because I don't want to say it, but I was going to say black people will turn around and love to play the victim. Like, everybody's been a victim in one way, shape or form. Don't get it twisted. I'm not denying that. But the reality is, continuing to be a victim isn't going to help you become the victor. I'll say that again. Continuing to be a victim is not going to help you become the victor. In order to become victorious in life, you need to do the things which those who are on the road to victory do. This is why, again, I mentioned foolishness versus wisdom, because the wiser you are, the more wise steps that you take, the more wise results you are actually going to get. And vice versa, the more foolish steps you take, the more foolish results you're going to get. So she said it after I said it, and I'm just going to say it again. It's not, when we talk about black culture and what black people do and all this sort of stuff, it's not that this is only something for black people, right? It's just the fact that a lot of the movies which are promoted towards black people and things along those lines, the black people like to do. And instead of realizing and being like, no, this music is toxic, these movies are garbage, we need to actually listen to something better, we need to watch something better, we need to consume our environment, we need to surround our environment and consume things which are better for us as individuals. You don't have to be black in order to make these decisions. The same way white people make dumb decisions and they get dumb results, and Asian people and Mexicans and Indians and whatever group or skin tone of people you're talking about. So don't ever be a victim. Even though you're in difficult situations, there's so many examples in the Bible. I always go to, for example, Joseph in Genesis. He could have been the victim, no doubt, because his brothers betrayed him. They sold him as a slave into slavery, right? He went through so many different trying and turmoil. He never once acted like a victim. He continued to act like the victor that he was, because he understood that it's not necessarily just about your circumstances which determines how things pan out. It's about how you react to those circumstances, which largely determines how things turn out on so many different levels.
You have people over here making life miserable for other fellow Americans because you have no manners, you have no standards, you have no morals. I don't care how you were brought up. If you were raised in the hood, if you were raised in a suburb, I don't care.
It's funny she said that. I wasn't going to say it like that, but what I was going to say is, listen, we all grow up and start in different environments, but what we can change, not our past, we can change our present, which as we continue to do that will change our future. So you may not have manners right now. You may not have wise dress sense right now. You may not have a lot of the things that you need in order to start succeeding. But what you can do is you can have the desire to change and begin to take steps in that direction, which will begin to show themselves at time in the future.
Having character and manners will always take you far. So no, I don't blame people when they say no. We don't want your kind over here. I'm hesitant. I don't blame them. I do not. Because if anything, what it shows is that you cannot call a pattern of facts racism and stereotype. Stereotypes all come from a truth.
To a certain degree, I'm going to have to disagree with her a little bit here, because people that are racist, they don't need facts. They will just be racist just to be racist. And sometimes they'll even manipulate the data or look at or sway the data in a certain way or leave out. It's all manipulating the data anyway, just in simple terms. And then have that as a buffer, as like a buttress as to why, to justify their racism. So racism, we know, is still prevalent. And again, like I said previously, don't be a victim, right? Don't act as a victim. You know certain stuff may be happening in life, and it happens in some places more than others, but it's a reality. So I don't fully agree with what she's saying on this particular point, but at the same time, she's still making some decent points. So
what a concept.
So there you have it. All I would say is, right, just to wrap up today's video, just because, like, don't be determined or don't be characterized, don't identify yourself just by your skin tone. The world system wants you to believe that because you're a specific skin tone, this is your lot in life, or this is the kind of thing that is destined for you, which is not the truth, right? These are mental barriers that you need to break. And this is one of the reasons why I love the Word of God, because it shows you from the very beginning that we are all made in the image, the likeness of God. And what that means is we are unique, we are special, we are one of a kind, and God gave us the fingerprints, as I like to say, to prove it. And the great thing about that is, because we're all unique and special and one of a kind in our own way, that gives us the opportunity to do things which no other people can. This is one of the reasons why I will say to you, if you want to make more money without necessarily relying on a full-time job, click the link in the description box. It will show you one way that you can do it right away. Guys, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, but as always, do not forget to react righteously. God bless.